As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old land, the starry crown, sweet! Oh, let's go down, let's go down, come on.
Hey! How about that planet Earth?
Let's go down in the river to
Love your mother!
Oh, sinners, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, Father, let's go down.
One of the tents down there is going to be where the signs and stuff are going to be made.
What are you here for?
Well, I'm here because I think this is probably the number one issue of our times right now. Has been for a long time, but climate crisis is incredibly devastating for most of the world, and Iowa is going to start suffering blowback from the climate crisis. My feeling is this is the number one issue that we have to deal with in our lifetime right now.
We're part of the People's Climate March that's going on in Washington, D.C. There are probably about 300 to 500 other cities doing this climate march today. It has to do with the intersectionality of all causes having to do with justice, from Black Lives Matter to immigration to labor workers. We're all saying together, whether we're environmentalists, we're all saying we need to join together for climate justice, jobs, and clean energy today. We're saying, we're here, Mr. Trump. We know what you're doing about the degradation of our environment, and we're going to stand up and say no more.
These factory farms are terrible for the environment. I'm with the Iowa Alliance for Responsible Agriculture, and we're a coalition of 25 national, state, and local community organizations in Iowa that have been fighting factory farms for years.
I believe climate change is a big problem. We need to address it now. And I work in energy law, so I'm very passionate about the transition to a renewable energy economy.
I think people need to speak out. I think we've been energized with this last election and the actions in the last 100 days with President Trump and all of the statements during the campaign that he's made about climate and all the environmental damage he's done in the first 100 days. And Americans need to stand up for the planet, for the environment. I've personally been studying about climate change for years and years and years, and to say that it's a Chinese hoax is ridiculous.
He seems to think that his base is the only people in America that count. And we just want to have some people show up and show that there's other people besides that he needs to listen to.
The threat, particularly from Washington, the great amount of misinformation that's put out, we're here to attest to the fact it is real.
That it's a moral issue, not a partisan issue, because people are already being displaced by climate change, and the Pentagon says it's the number one threat to national security. We got to let people know how urgent this is, so actions need to be taken. So we're doing what we can.
6-8, climate justice cannot wait. 2, 4, 6, 8, climate justice cannot wait. 2, 4, 6, 8, climate justice cannot wait. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. 2, 4, 6, 8, climate justice cannot wait. Invest in our future, not fossil fuels. Invest in our future, not fossil fuels. Invest in our future, not fossil fuels. Windmills, not oil spills. Windmills, not oil spills. Windmills, not oil spills. Windmills, not oil spills.
I have walked all 85 miles from Little Creek Camp near Millersburg, Iowa to the state capital of Des Moines. And I want to tell you that each step I took was a prayer. It's a prayer for the earth. It's a prayer for all of you. What we are facing here today is not a political issue. This is a spiritual issue. All right, our society is sick, and it's making our earth sick. What we are facing now is the ultimate misogyny, and it affects us on the personal level, on the family level, community, city, state, country, and on the global level. All right? Our earth is the feminine that provides everything we need to sustain us. And we have a type of misogyny going on that has no respect for that whatsoever. And we live in a society that does not respect the feminine. And that's what really needs to change. We really need to bring the world back in balance. This is out of balance. This isn't about feminism or anything political or anything intellectual about that. This is spiritual.
I am an Iowan, and I have to stand up for my Iowans. There are a lot more issues that are important to us. On that flag, it says we pride ourselves in our liberties and our rights. And that's what we will do, and that's what this march is doing. It opens up the conversations for this whole state of Iowa, that we do matter. Us as Native Americans, we've endured a lot. We're still here. We're still here in the state of Iowa. We know what came for us, and we survived it. It's coming for you guys next. That's why we need to start standing up together, rising together. My friend Sean, Prolific the rapper, said, "A rising tide raises all ships." And that's what we're trying to do. We're not going to forget about you. We think about you guys when we're on this march, every single one of you.
We've got a crisis. Climate change is a crisis, and beyond that, our whole country is divided along urban and rural lines, Democratic and Republican lines, partisan lines, lines that aren't real, that politicians and corporations, basically they define us in ways that separate us, and we believe that at the bottom of it all, we have a lot in common, and we need to get united on those issues. And it kind of revolves around climate, because climate affects all of us. It revolves around justice, economic justice, environmental justice, around jobs, and around the incredible opportunities that are there with clean energy. And our march has been about trying to build momentum for this rally, and to do that by reaching out to constituencies that don't normally hear this message. I think it's been a good opportunity to reach new people, and we need more people involved in this movement. And to do that, you don't preach to the choir, you reach out across the aisle.
Ironically, agriculture is considered a major cause of climate change. But don't be misled by this fact. It is a system of industrial agriculture that dominates our food production here in Iowa and around the world, and led by powerful transnational corporations and the politicians and agribusiness promoters who support them with the false premise of feeding the world that most negatively impacts our climate. Industrial agriculture is an extractive industry, mining our soils for bigger and bigger yields. Here in Iowa, we have torn up permanent pasture and reduced our crop rotations to just 2 annual crops, and put meat, milk, and egg-producing animals in confinements. Band-aid approaches to soil and water quality and technological fixes to animal confinements are not enough to overcome industrial agriculture's negative effects. The good news is that we can change that system. With food sovereignty that includes political and economic positions that recognize the benefits of smaller, diversified farms with animals on pasture and in paddocks instead of in confinements, agriculture's impact on climate can be positive. As stated by Food First and La Via Campesina, it is time to reverse the trends of industrial agriculture. Diversifying our farms can actually help cool the planet and produce our food using carbon capturing agroecological principles. By supporting farmers around the world and challenging the economics of corporate-controlled industrial agriculture with our food choices, our impassioned voices, grassroots organizing, and people power, we can have a food and agricultural system that is a positive force for farmers and against climate change.
When I drove up, somebody said the numbers aren't great. I say to you, don't count on numbers, you make numbers count. That's what we do. We don't worry about how many. If we go do our work, we don't have to worry about numbers. Because we're standing for what matters. We're standing for what's right. We're standing today. And I'm not worried about the rain, because if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we won't even be able to come outside. I'm not worried about the rain, because if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we won't have water, clean water to drink. If we don't worry, I'm not worried about the rain, because I want to make sure that our babies don't have to stand out here in another 10 years fighting for clean air and dealing with climate change. Because we're going to do our job. We're going to create a path for these babies to be able to correct what is right, because you are going to make a difference. You are going to go and lead this rally, and you're going to meet with your neighbors. You're going to meet with your legislators. You're going to meet with people who don't understand, and you're going to educate them, because you're about doing the work. You are the activists to make change. And we're not going to let people talk down about being an activist. Activists have changed the world. Activists have created free breakfast programs. Activists have stood up and made sure that the pipeline was noted and educated people across this country. Activists have stood up to make changes, and you don't worry about what people say, because you're willing to stand for what matters. Talk about climate change. Talk about the policy. Talk about the issues. Talk about our babies. And let's move this, and move this to a whole different level of love. And when I close and I turn my back, I want you to shake hands and hug somebody next to you and say, I love you. I want you. And we will struggle this together. God bless everybody. Stay strong.
The robe and crown of the Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sinners, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, Father, let's go down,